Women's Rugby Treehouse.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Women's Rugby Treehouse. I am Julia. I've got my pals Hattie and Sian here. If you have been following along with us, we are covering the Women's Rugby World Cup 2025. If you are just catching up, please be sure to watch our Pool A and B episodes. Today, we are going to be covering Pool C and D. In Pool C, we've got New Zealand, Ireland, Japan, and Spain, and that is where we are going to start off. How do you get us going?
As Julia said, we're going to cover Pool C. So if we start off with top of the pool to the bottom of the pool, just like we did last time, we've got New Zealand, who are currently world number 3 and the reigning World Cup champions. They have been on some rocky form over the last 3 years, with friend of the pod, Alice Soper, saying that domestic game time is an issue for New Zealand. However, Portia Woodman-Whitcliffe is back. She's back.
The goat. We got the goat. We already blew all that. We already blew with saying Sophie Dagoti is back. Sophie Dagoti is back, but not like P Dub Dub.
Yeah,
not
P Dub
absolute
Dub.
goat.
Oh,
that's a great name.
And she's not just like, it's not just she's returned, and like when some people come out for retirement or then their career and like you just think maybe you shouldn't have done that. She scored 7 tries against the USA in Pac 4.
Yeah,
only the 7.
This is a Michael Jordan comeback. This is a Michael Jordan comeback where it's like, not only that, I'm also going to win. I'm planning to immediately win the championship.
Although, to be fair, Michael Jordan only retired because of gambling. So I don't think P Dub Dub was doing that.
I was going to say,
she just wanted a break.
Wycliffe, not the problem.
No. She just wanted to relax.
She wanted to relax, and then New Zealand said, "Please, please don't,"
because we're shit right now.
I definitely
so we're just starting right off.
I definitely think she's boosted them. Well, yeah, for their standards, they were doing well.
I mean, they lost to Ireland. I think that was it. They lost to Ireland.
All right. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
We're going to be talking about Ireland as well. But first of all, we all agree that I hesitate to say red herring. I hesitate to say red herring, but not quite.
Yeah. But I think it did. It was a bit of a kick up the backside, I think, that match, because they didn't prepare very well.
No, I agree. I think they didn't have some of their players, though, didn't they? They didn't have their
and they rested a couple of people, and they were missing people that had been to, there were 7 players who were expected to maybe play in this World Cup who obviously weren't playing, and
I don't want to diminish Ireland's achievement,
right?
But at the same time, you have to look at what New Zealand did put out, and it wasn't quite as good as what they have in the previous year.
We also know now, having seen the side for New Zealand, we can now confirm what we had all kind of suspected and all kind of gossiped about, but they are deciding to go forward, and it's a good idea. We've talked about it briefly with teams like Wales, actually, but they have decided to go forward as some quite young guns who are very promising, which is true and a good idea. However, it is something that some other top tier teams aren't doing as much. And honestly, I would contrast them with England, to be honest. England does have a few younger, newer caps. Nobody as brand new as a few people that New Zealand are bringing in, which I understand can be interpreted a few different ways. For me, it's confidence, even if it's fake.
Yeah. I mean, confidence is fake, isn't it? Don't you fake confidence?
Exactly. It's half how you show up, and I think that I think that there might be a gap into which some rugby talkers come in and say that, like, this is a New Zealand that is in trouble, that they're having to rely on these sorts of people. I don't think that that's it. I just want to get ahead of that narrative.
And I think you have to also look at like the history of the Black Ferns. They were never a team that because they were automatically qualifying or automatically selected to go to World Cups, and because of money and funding, etc., they weren't playing a lot of rugby in between World Cups. So a lot of their players were going into World Cups having no test caps anyway. So yes, the rugby kind of outlook has changed, but that's still not a massive kind of part of their thing. So it's not a huge issue that they've maybe got people that have got under 10 caps.
When they founded Opiki, officially. Obviously, like most other pro leagues for women, it has existed in other non-pro forms before. Absolutely. And Farrah Palmer Cup still exists. That said, when Opiki came to be in its current form, that was the narrative of why. So unfortunately, this goes into a different conversation, and Australia isn't in either of these pools. There's conversation about whether it might behoove both of them to merge their competitions. This pod kind of thinks that's an interesting idea. I say all of that just to indicate that New Zealand sees that there is a problem with exposure for younger caps. They understand what taking some of them into this is going to be like. I think of Sylvia Brunt only because we were watching her when she was 16 in the Farrah Palmer Cup, and then later Opiki, and they've got a few more people like that. I don't have the list up with me right now because I'm looking at pools, but I think New Zealand is going into this knowing that. I really wish that we had like our first team sheet so we could see what the coach was thinking in terms of, because the people that they're bringing it's a very interesting mix. Again, friend of the pod, Alice Soper, has broken this down pretty thoroughly. Absolutely, if you're interested in what the Black Ferns are up to, go check out Alice's work. She has really broken down this entire squad in a really thorough way. But through all of that, I wonder, when you have the confidence to leave Ruby Tui off your roles.
Oh, I know.
I'm so curious.
She hasn't been playing well, though, had she?
That's true. That's true.
By her standard.
Right, to her standard. However, we have discussed this before for other teams. There's something to be said about players that bring something more than just playing. Is Ruby Tui that integral? We don't know. A lot of other rugby talkers, especially from the Southern Hemisphere, have been talking about it as in a mistake. I don't know enough about New Zealand rugby to call it a mistake yet.
She played well because the Black Ferns played the Black Ferns 15.
Oh yeah.
She played for the WXV. She played. Yeah. I think she scored against the Black Ferns as well. Yeah, sorry, she played for the Black Ferns 15
No,
side.
you were right. I was misspeaking.
Oh. But she did have quite a good game against them. So I think a lot of people were expecting her to get picked.
So people were, but to go back to friend of the pod, who, if she listens or watches this, she's going to feel a bit weird that we keep mentioning her. But she did a prediction of like who the Black Ferns team was going to be, and she got it absolutely spot on.
She did,
including the person that she was like, if this prop is injured, Crystal Murray will be in.
It'll be Muzza again, yeah.
Yeah, and she was absolutely bang on. And she left out Ruby Tui, and loads of people were coming at her being like, you're wrong, no, of course Ruby's going to be in. She was like, no, because yes, Ruby Tui would walk into pretty much any other side.
Absolutely.
However, the depth
they've got so much talent
is so deep in that back three. And if you're like, oh, well, we need her for morale, you've got Caitlin Vahakolo, you've got Portia Woodman-Whitcliffe.
I was going to say, you've got Portia.
We saw one comment of someone on socials when they said that Ruby Tui should be picked for like the social media. It's like, what? No, you don't win a World Cup just by creating content. It's like,
oh, you're absolutely right. That was wrong. But we should say to people who are listening and who are kind of more just aware of the, who are more aware of the Black Ferns, who only come up once every 4 years, or who go to the Olympics. There was a lot of expectation that because of those performances that there would be inclusion. And we've actually seen, if you look closer and you look at picks for every time there is an international appearance, not so much.
Even when she's been in the squad, she's not been in the match day 23 necessarily.
You need to be projecting confidence past, and we've talked about this in other pools. Sometimes folks that you know and love need to be left out because that hole can be filled by, and you hate to say it in any sport, by somebody younger, by somebody fitter, by somebody who you want to grow, and this would be a way to position yourself for 2029. We don't know. And we're going to figure out a lot of intentions with their early fielding. And I just kind of, I feel like judging their intention off of just this is probably only giving you half a picture.
Absolutely. Totally.
You know, every team has like a talisman, but every once in a while it has to change. I understand we have, like, it's different when you have Portia. I understand. But even Portia is like, seriously, this is my last World Cup. Stop.
Yeah. But I also, I'm going to say this, and I love Ruby Tui. I think she's great. However, I think part of the reason why people have picked up on her so much is the fact that she has these like soundbite interviews. So she had one after the
Who
World
does
Cup.
that sound like? Who does that sound like?
She has one after the World Cup final and then one after the Olympics in 2021. And
I mean,
she
gives great talk.
She gives great talk.
She does. She does.
Like when it was the home World Cup in New Zealand in 2022, she was like,
it was made for it.
Yeah, she was made for it. She kind of became the person in New Zealand for it, and she, you know, other stuff would go viral. But
didn't she give her World Cup medal away? I'm sure there was some
she gave it to
insane video of her doing that.
No,
I mean,
it was giving it to a kid, and it was sobbing, and the kid had cancer. It was crazy.
But I wouldn't necessarily say that she's that integral to the side. Like,
no, I agree.
And again, I love Ruby Tui.
Yeah, no, we all do.
But I wouldn't when you've got Portia Woodman-Whitcliffe in your side.
Yep.
We've talked about it before also. Stripping away who Ruby Tui is, let's bring it back and let's just think about rugby fundamentals.
She's a very good winger.
It sucks to say, but there are a lot of very good wingers. And making a very good winger is one of the least hard things to do. And this is not to say anything against really good wingers. Portia Woodman-Whitcliffe is a really good winger. However, because of the relative ease into which you can come into that position, or come in and out, especially if you are a 7-15s crossover, yes, there will be more people gunning for those. It's just like anything else in the world. When a job is one that more people can do, more people will try to do it. And when you are a team like New Zealand that already has really great development, unfortunately, it's a development. That is something that you will expect. However, great news for people who love Ruby. Everybody heard, and of course, I think it would have been ridiculous if this didn't happen, but we did get confirmation. Ruby Tui will be a part of the BBC broadcast team. That's a slam dunk. That's absolutely where she should have been. There was a small campaign rather, on social media about finding a place for Ruby Tui at the World Cup if it's not going to be on the team. Obviously.
And I think that was already like, she was probably like, oh, this is going to, like, going to the BBC will be my backup plan if I don't make the squad. And I think connections have already been made, because I remember
it doesn't suck to have that.
Like months and months and months ago, she did an interview and they were like, oh, we're going to see you playing in the World Cup in England. She was like, well, even if I don't make it, I'll like do something else at the World Cup. So like she knew.
Yes, she did. Yeah.
Absolutely. And a lot of other players made similar caveats, and like that's just smart to do. It can never be said that she has bad instinct when it comes to presentation of herself and marketing of herself, which we talked about a lot in the game right now. We are seeing it. There was recently, I don't care about this, but unfortunately it's important. The Barbie partnership is apparently, it's not for this pod, but it is for a lot of people who are coming into rugby.
I will say, if the ball didn't say red roses on it, I would buy it.
That's the thing. See?
Yep.
Because it's pink.
Yeah. Because it's pink.
Yeah, it's cool. I just don't want it.
I just
right, and
if it's been like,
I don't want it, but I have a little niece and I am very strongly considering getting it for her.
Can I just say, I bought this shirt and I love this shirt, this jersey, but I was like, oh no, it's got like England on it. It was like, what?
This is why I will.
Sorry, for listening to this pod, I do have the new Wales jersey, World Cup jersey on, by the way.
This is why I will never work with the English when I could just work with the Welsh. They're perfect people. They're perfect people. Their politics confuse me, but they're perfect people.
Yeah, we're totally perfect. Can I ask, do you think the Black Ferns have been better since Portia's come back? Because I have been quite impressed with the Black Ferns matches, but I don't in when you know in the since the last sort of like year, I don't know if that's me just being a little bit biased because I like watching the Black Ferns.
My thing is, my feeling about it is Portia Woodman is an exceptional rugby player, correct? When you get to a point where you are so regularly flitting between 7s and 15s, I feel like there's probably a chance that your impact on the team off the pitch probably becomes less. I mean, you're not always around. You have, it's not a dual loyalty, but it's split. I don't know necessarily that the whole team is uplifted or not uplifted by her being there or not. I don't necessarily know if it's the same presence as some of the other players. I think there are leader roles that are being filled. I don't know necessarily if they are by her socially. But also that's not everybody's job. We've talked about it a lot before, not recently for RWC, but we've talked about it in general, that it is not the case that every amazing player must also be a team leader, a social leader. That can't be everybody all the time. And it's true that you don't see Portia in the middle of those circles doing the yelling and the we're gonna do this or whatever. That's what you have Ruahe Demet for. That's there are 4 other people. In terms of, do I think she's lifting the team? I don't know, but like 7 tries in a match doesn't hurt.
I think having somebody like Portia on your team is going to give any team an ego boost.
Yeah, I think so.
We've got the GOAT. You can't not. And I also think it's a bit of like a threat, not a threat to the other team, but it's like, oh God, we're going to have to play Portia.
Statement.
Yeah.
It's a statement.
It is a psychological thing. I mean, you know,
absolutely.
Sport is so psychological.
With somebody like Portia, and you saw it in the USA match, like the amount of tries she scored.
It's nuts.
You hand her the ball and she's probably going to score.
I think about it. I think about it
that's helpful.
I think about it the same way as teams react. You know, obviously I'm American. I'm going to pick one first and then I'm going to use one that everybody can relate to. But when you see, for example, Hope Rogers come off the bench, when you see Sarah Byrne come off the bench, it's not necessarily that they are ultimate leaders of the team, but you're just like, oh, shit.
Yeah. No,
and
that's
that
100%.
helps. It absolutely helps. And in the World Cup of all places, unfortunately, because of the gravitas and the magnitude of the event, unfortunately, more minds are open to more persuasion and you can play head games. It's fun. It's why we non-players love it.
Yeah.
And that is going to lead me on to our first big question of the day, which is, with Braxton Sorensen McGee in literally incredible form, if you go
probably the
watch
best form of her career so far.
She's like 12, but yeah,
she's and that's my thing is that, well, no, having Sorensen McGee and having Brunt, I'm always going to be a Sylvia Brunt fan, because the first interaction that I had with Sylvia Brunt was when she was 16. She was still playing in what O'Picky grew into. She was playing in the Farrah Palmer Cup, and she made an insane 80-meter run, and then somebody almost got her at the last minute. She flipped right over them and made a try. It was very Southern Hemisphere. It was very New Zealand. I was just like, no, you're built for this.
Yeah.
You have grown up in this.
But Sorensen McGee, if you go watch, it's like a YouTube video, and it's from the USA match, and it's called like Portia Woodman scores 7 miracle tries or something. Yeah, whatever.
How many? 7.
Just 7. Yeah.
No,
if you go and watch that
the clip after when they're talking to her after, and she goes, I don't even know how many I scored, and they said 7. And she goes, 7. Oh,
I don't believe that for a second. Come on.
I've
so
never
funny. But
I've never scored enough that I've forgotten how many I scored.
In that video, if you go watch it, the amount of Portia Woodman Whitcliffe's tries that were assisted, because assists in rugby are now thing, were assisted by Braxton Sorensen McGee.
Yeah.
He's pretty incredible.
Yeah, you're right.
Good hands. There you go.
Yeah. And it takes a lot to knock Renee Holmes out of that 15 spot.
Which says a lot 100%. Too. I mean, that's very exciting, and I think that does speak to. I say this because the predominating narrative is always that the I've said it before too, and I hope everyone gets sick of it. The best team in the world is England. The second best is England A. I don't know. I think other people have depth.
Yeah. Especially if
I don't
you're New
believe that
Zealand
anymore.
and it's the back three.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to my question, which I've got derailed on several times.
Oh,
With Braxton Sorensen McGee in excellent form and Caitlin Vahakolo also in fine form, who will be the Black Ferns' top try scorer? And will Portia be the World Cup top try scorer for the third competition in a row?
I think it will. I'm sorry.
Surely,
I think it will.
I think after the USA game,
putting seven on the USA.
I think she will, and I'm going to say something maybe a bit controversial here. It won't necessarily be because she's scoring loads of tries in the big games. It'll be because she puts 10.
Against Japan.
On Japan, yeah.
Yeah.
100%, yeah.
And she just blows through everyone.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah. This pool, I think in terms of like the things that might happen and the possibilities, I can't decide if Pool C or Pool D is the most exciting. Pool A and Pool B, we covered them. We talked a lot about it. There's obviously excitement to be had. There are going to be a lot of questions coming out of those pools. However, kind of everybody who is like a real ball knower, a real ball lover, these are the pools that are really fun.
Yeah.
And where you're gonna see really contrasting styles, and Pool C especially, between New Zealand, Ireland, Japan, and Spain. Those are 4 teams who play incredibly differently. We've covered now what we think of New Zealand, but in terms of how things are going to go, yes, of course they're going to top the pool. However, they have a grudge against Ireland.
Which leads me into my next question.
Leads us right in.
So the Black Ferns have only ever lost 2 games in the World Cup.
So that is actually insane. So that's nuts. Come on.
So they lost completely a game in the first ever World Cup, which was against the USA, and the USA went on to win. They didn't appear
legends.
They didn't appear in 1994, which was an England win. And then in 2014, they lost to Ireland in the pool stage. It was a huge upset. It was the first time that Ireland and New Zealand ever faced off. And England
one of the most incredible moments. One of the most incredible moments.
It's a beautiful try. Absolutely beautiful.
Legendary.
I mean that the Ireland 2014 team is one that I cite as I think it's probably the pinnacle of Irish women's rugby.
100%.
I think about them all the time. Several of them. Well, one of them is now a ref manager for World Rugby. Several of them. One of them is now a consultant for the Springboks, who we're going to talk about. I mean, just a brilliant side, and I think I only say that because I feel like Ireland is finally trying to lean back into that, and that's really exciting.
I agree, but I know we're not talking about Ireland, but I also feel like they never quite got the recognition that 2014.
They didn't.
Absolutely.
When you think and that was the Irish team now,
because nobody cared about women's.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's that. Yeah, basically.
It's still my favorite World Cup.
I personally don't think it'll be in the pool stage, but after they get out of the pools, who do you think is the most likely to topple the Black Ferns?
Who plays Pool C?
Do you mean
winners? I can't remember.
Of the other pool people, or once they get out of pool?
Once they get out, like if who do you think can take them down?
I mean, other than England is a boring conversation, so let's skip England.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to work out. They played Pool
So they
D,
will probably face either Italy or South Africa in the quarters, and then in the semis they will face
Canada.
Canada.
I think Canada.
But Canada could do it.
I think Canada can do it again.
They drew, didn't they, in the pack?
Yep.
Canada played really well against them.
Yeah, so they drew last year, and then they lost the year before.
Yeah, I think Canada can take them.
But they drew with no Sophie de Goede.
Yeah.
I don't remember if Portia played in that one, but I also don't care because I feel like
I think Canada have got enough to beat them.
I think they got the juice for it. Yeah. I'm so excited.
I'm excited too.
I'm so happy you guys are gonna be there for that. Yeah, it's gonna be so good.
It's gonna be good. Anyway. Moving on.
That leads us our
second team in the pool, who
Ireland.
I'm not biased. This shirt is just really good. So that's why
it's a really good one.
Yeah,
all of your shirts are good.
She's got a few hits. I'm pandering because I've only 2 of mine have arrived so far, and my USA one is in the wash. And also, like, this is the one that really started.
The Wales ones I wore on Tuesday at Calaboose Park.
Right.
Do we have a story?
We have a story, you guys.
Approval. Yes. So I basically, this is completely off rail
we have
now.
a story. Nope, Sean, go. It's our
I went to the Wales team send-off on Tuesday at Calaboose Park, and pretty much, well, I was wearing my Al-Cal Captain Cymru t-shirt. My sister was wearing her Cymru t-shirt with Maisie Davis and selected others on it. We met nearly all of the entire Welsh team after the training session.
Including everybody on the shirts.
Al-Cal, I've never seen her so happy, frankly. She took a photo of my t-shirt and sent it to her nan. Honestly, basically, your t-shirts, Hattie, have had complete full stamp of approval from the Welsh rugby team.
Yes.
It was magical.
But then
really, it's all
what happened was that Sharm's like, I took a photo with Maisie Davis, but it wasn't on my phone. So we later go on Twitter.
You know who has the picture?
It was Maisie's mum, Jenna, who we're going to call friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod by accident.
Yeah,
Maisie, I'm sorry, unfortunately, you are a friend now.
Maisie was just like, she was absolutely stoked when she saw the team. When she
So
saw,
were
the reaction.
So were the Pierceses.
Yeah.
The Pierceses, which we really wanted.
Yes.
But Maisie's mum was like, this is class, this is great. Like, she was tagging people, and I was like,
uh-oh.
They were, the whole family were just, yeah.
So I went and made...
I was going to say, what have you gotten recently in your inbox?
So I then made a Maisie Davis shirt,
had to.
Right?
Which, by the way, available for purchase.
Available for purchase. And I tweeted it, didn't tag Jenna at all. I think somebody else did. It might have been Sean.
She is online.
I think it was me.
Yeah, I think it was Sean that tagged her. And
Sean even more online.
Literally like an hour and a half after I'd put it on the website, all of a sudden I get this email. It was an email for 7. I went back and checked. It was an email for 7.
I love this so much.
Then, like 20 minutes later, there was another one through. But like a few more.
Yeah,
and I was like,
that's when the family group
the
chat,
entire family
finally, I was gonna say, when everybody finally looked at the WhatsApp, and they're like, shit.
And I was like, oh my
that's a lot
God.
of your face.
You have to, Hattie, you have to make them of like the entire Welsh team, because I got Kira Bevan accused me of favoritism when she saw.
Oh my God, my favorite player.
And she's like, "That's favoritism, that is," and I'm like,
"That's favoritism,
one of my favorite players ever." It's not true.
And then I was also like, Kira,
she's on the captain on the
I know she's
regular
on the
Cymru shirt.
On the Cymru shirt. I know,
Yeah.
but the thing is, I was really hoping Rich would be there. Rich, I hope you're listening. I was really hoping you would be there so you could tell her that, like, Julia insisted, because that's Julia's favorite picture of Kira. Because it is. By the way, chat and people listening, we have a bunch of stickers in our WhatsApp group, and my favorite sticker is the sticker of Kira Bevan's thumbs up, because it's the most sarcastic thumbs up in the world. And I'm like,
I don't think I can choose a favorite sticker, actually. They're all amazing.
No, you can't. And you need them all for reactions.
My new favorite one is the Jenny Scones one.
Is Jenny Scones. Jenny Scones, by the way, we do have an individual sticker. I don't remember if Hattie or Sean made it. I'm a bad friend.
It was Sean.
However, it was Sean. So we do have a picture of your official portrait, and you're just holding an armful of scones. And it's great, and we use it often.
I did tell Jenny about that story.
Exactly. And she was like, that's cool. And she was like, don't let her in the stadium again.
Yeah, I've now got a restraining order against the entire Welsh team.
I think one of my favorite.
You got it notarized. You got it notarized on the firefighter header, where they're just like, we aren't coming to your house if it's on fire because you're being weird.
Yeah. I think one of my favorites, although I don't get to use it very often, is the one of Abby Fleming in a bin.
Right. I mean, when would you?
Yeah, it doesn't get a lot of use, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah, some of those rare ones are almost like better when we don't use them that often, and we just sneak them in.
And then all of a sudden, it's just Abby Fleming. She was doing an ice bath.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah.
We should probably talk about Ireland now.
I was just gonna say, I'm gonna use my American privilege, and I'm gonna stop the Welsh chat.
Yeah, sorry.
And let's actually talk about
as two victims. as two victims of England, let's talk about a third victim of England.
Okay. Ireland, number 5 in the world. Woo. Ireland are firmly the best of the rest, but they struggled against Scotland in the Six Nations and were outclassed by Canada in the warm-ups. Many Irish fans are maybe expecting a win over the Black Ferns, especially kind of the male fans who haven't really been around the team very much, haven't been through the struggle years that women's rugby fans had to go through. What a painful time. And they're the only team in the world to have a positive win rate over New Zealand, over a New Zealand senior rugby team. Even a current men's side doesn't have it over the All Blacks. I got there eventually. It's 66%.
Yeah, that's,
by the way.
She loves the spreadsheet.
Honestly, folks. I would kill for Wales to even beat New Zealand.
Once.
A time.
Like,
either Welsh side.
There would have to okay. And I say this
the women's
as
would
somebody
be
who
nicer,
used to be on a Welsh. I say this as somebody who used to be on a Welsh rugby podcast even. However, there would need to be food poisoning for that to happen. One of the we all ate a weird meal right before this match and like 16 of our people are out. And then we'd do it. Welsh would do it.
Yeah. Anyway, how likely is it that Ireland are going to repeat the feat and beat New Zealand?
I can't see it this World Cup. I think they've got too many injuries anyway.
I don't see it this time. So since we're talking about Ireland, I feel that it's important only because it's something that we have talked about for other teams. I don't like to do it for Ireland because I don't feel that it's as much a problem as it is for others. However, they do fall into the trap recently of placing perhaps a lot of responsibility on one player. This player, now the reason I bring it up is because we were talking about injuries. So we'll just cover the top line item straight out. Aoife Wafer is healthy in quotation marks. We are told by Ireland Rugby that Aoife Wafer will be there. She is deemed fit in terms of not out. But we are 3 former players. We also know that like you don't just get rid of an injury. Like it doesn't just go away. And unfortunately the concern for it was pretty recent. The initial injury was pretty recent and then the rehab was even more so.
I feel like it's a bit like Alcal in the Six Nations. I just don't. That's
exactly how I feel. That was really where I was going to go. That's exactly how I feel, and it would be
basically what I mean by that is Alcal wasn't fit really for the Six Nations. I don't think
that exactly. That was exactly where I was going to go. I don't.
And the thing is, if you look at the matches that she's played in terms of Aoife Wafer, like she played WXV and then she missed loads of the Celtic Challenge with this injury. She then played some of the Six Nations, but then missed out because of injury again. She has just been in and out, and it seems to be this like recurring injury that's just not. And bearing in mind,
when she had too soon.
When she had her breakout,
we also know that that's completely like that's how an injury works. And having to come in out means that you're not rehabbing.
Yeah, and the thing is, she had her like breakout season, but that followed an injury. So she made her debut, got injured, missed like a year and a half of rugby, came back in WXV3, absolutely starred in the next Six Nations, played in WXV1, and then went up to this current year. She's really young. I think Ireland needed a kind of a female icon in terms of like getting the team popular. They needed an icon.
I hate to keep using it, but unfortunately it's really working. The talisman. I only use it because like it does work because it is something that energizes the team, and Aoife absolutely does.
I mean, to be fair, she had a really good Six Nations.
Yeah,
like she was Six Nations phenomenal player of the tournament.
Like don't get me wrong.
There's nothing to argue.
She's an incredible player, but I do feel like the Irish back row is so good.
Yeah.
And like when you look at somebody like Brittany Hogan, she really gets no plaudits whatsoever, but the amount of work that she puts in is incredible.
And King as well. And King.
Hogan, I was just gonna say, and King. But I'm really glad actually you brought up Hogan because I do feel that that's one that gets overshadowed rather. I say this because a big piece of news otherwise is that we will see Aoife Wafer and Alcal playing together, which is insane. We will be seeing that. We can't wait for that. Women's Rugby Treehouse will definitely be covering that when it happens. But I say that because We are used to seeing kind of understated workhorses under big names. And I think that kind of defines Ireland to me, especially that I don't know if it's really wise to lean so hard on Aoife Wafer when she's just come back, and I think they're going
It's
to.
not.
She's just come back. She's still really
think
like
it's
that
unsafe.
entire team is very young, but like
I think that we did it to I think that Wales did it. I think that Wales did it to Alcal, and I think that it was to the detriment.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. No, I agree. It's a good point, actually.
We all worried.
I think the worrying thing for me is also that, like, for example, we just talked about Erin King. Well, she's not even in the World Cup. She's one of the players that's missing. And that puts it more on Wafer then, and it's kind of like,
which is going to lead me to my next kind of point is the injury crisis that Ireland have got going on. So just to go through, the entire squad is injured, quite frankly, but the pack in particular is up shit creek. Let's be frank.
Yeah, it's sad.
You're right.
I hate it.
I'm heartened by who is. Sorry, you should listen. I'm heartened by who's there, but I'm really worried by who's not. Hattie, please list.
So Adele McMahon has suffered with several smaller injuries. She's been in and out of every team that she plays for. Sam Monaghan missed the PWR season and the Six Nations with an ACL injury, making her return during the warm-ups. Dorothy Wall, Christy Haney and Erin King have all been ruled out of the competition entirely, and superstar Aoife Wafer is an injury doubt. Veteran prop and former Red Rose Elena Perry has been called up to shore up the scrum, but Dervla Nichabard has been left out of the squad entirely.
I have a lot of so a lot of this gives me pause. I mean, first of all, I'm gonna use my host of the pod privileges, Christy Haney. Girl, I'm so sorry. Christy Haney, it's not a story we have to go off into. Christy Haney is from America. She is from my actually literally my home county here in Virginia. She went to UVA. I'm a huge fan. Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I've loved her work. Love your work, girl. It's crazy that you're trying to do an Irish accent. That's wild. Love you, girl. I'm so upset that you're not there. That said, I don't know, man.
I think the props for Ireland, they have prop issues. And they have for a while.
Elle Perry coming in now. One of the many things that I really love about women's rugby is that so far we don't fall into the trap that men's rugby falls into, commenting on who the player might have played for before. And Elle Perry just finished her crossover. Rock on. It sounds like Ireland needs you.
But it's not a long-term solution.
I was gonna say that said, that's a band-aid. That's not.
They went down a list and went, did you know her nan's from here?
No,
she hasn't played in a while, and we really need someone. I was
gonna say so we joke about that. We've got buddies who are probably listening. We've got a lot of Scottish buddies, and unfortunately, this sounds a little bit like the SRU manual of when we are hurting, we're gonna dig in the books, and awesome. It's working insofar as you have a team, but I mean, that's so many names. I will pose an uncomfortable question, but one that I do think that we should still address. Sam Monaghan is back. Is she ready?
Well, exactly.
So the thing is, I think Ireland needs her more than she is actually ready.
I think Ireland
is needed.
It's like
problems.
Aoife Wafer.
Yeah, but Sam Monaghan is
Sam also. I was gonna say Sam also carries a lot of leadership.
Yeah, this is what I was about to get to. Ireland have two problems because they have such a young squad and because they went through so many issues. So, if you're new to women's rugby and you don't know, basically they were doing really, really well. Then their home World Cup in 2017, everything didn't go too well. And then after that, it just nosedived with the kind of extreme low, first extreme low being that they didn't qualify for the last World Cup. After that, they had a new coach come in who let's be honest, was
hated them.
great. Yeah, he literally
hated them.
was like, his interviews were horrendous.
I mean, I say that tongue in cheek, like to be more earnest with it. It really did feel a lot of the time when you listen to this guy that he was not on the side of his team.
No, so he did an interview once, and I think the journalist kind of got the feeling that he just like wasn't that interested, and his answer was like how he was treating them like they were his daughters or something, like
his daughters. It was really weird. It was really uncomfortable.
I forgot about that. That was horrible.
And I blocked that out because it felt so weird.
And I remember like the BBC comms, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Nick, who was just like basically commented on the fact that it was weird and uncomfortable.
It was
and not appropriate. I might have been Brian Moore. I can't remember. I feel like it was Brian Moore because it's something that he would like.
Well, it would have been one of the two men who actually know how to speak authoritatively on it.
Yeah, and I think I feel like it was Brian Moore. Anyway, so the problem that I had, because they had all that, and then they got the guy that didn't like them, he completely culled all of the sort of older heads, and he put Nicola Friday in charge. She's a great leader, but
him doing that destroyed her career.
It destroyed her career. It destroyed the team.
She's no longer in the squad, and she is still fit.
She's retired completely.
Yeah.
She could still play though, couldn't she? I can't remember how old she is. She's young enough.
28, 29.
30.
That's it. Yeah, I didn't even think she was 30. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nuts.
But yeah, it destroyed her career. He was bringing in 18-year-olds. Like Dana O'Brien has been playing in the squad now for 3 years, and she's just turned 21.
You are right, but just because we're doing a quick, in case people aren't familiar with the entire history, obviously we're not going to go through the entire Ireland saga, because there is a whole saga that we could do an episode on. However, the top line items are several talented players were blacklisted for speaking out against the IRFU, including who is now Cleena McDonald Maloney, was Cleena Maloney at the time, one of the biggest omissions for several times for speaking out against who ended up being David Nucifora, who has now been thrust upon Scotland. I only say that because we talked a bit about Scotland in the last episode, and we hinted a little bit about this, but it's important for people who are joining women's rugby to understand the interplay that you see, and for me, for people to understand that sometimes the rot isn't extracted, it's just moved. So I just wanted to bring that up. But Ireland now sees, Hattie touched on it a little bit, Ireland now sees basically a complete reformation. Sorry, and I know that that's where you were going, so please go on about Sam Monaghan and Adele McMahon.
Yeah, so then there was just this complete overhaul. Nicola Friday retired, Sam Monaghan and Eldrick McMahon come in as co-captains. And they've been doing very well. They are firmly the best of the rest, kind of outside the top four. However, there is an issue in that most of the team is still extremely young. They've got a whole host of caps, but they're
all Celtic Challenge.
They're playing in the Celtic Challenge. Their Ireland caps are, they spent 2 years getting battered, and they've spent the last year
WXV. A lot of them are WXV caps, some of which really didn't do much for them. They were trounces.
I kind of feel like most of their backs play in the Celtic Challenge, or am I getting that wrong?
A lot of their backs do.
Correct. Or so there's sevens, including the new
sevens,
captain.
I
assumed Hattie was going straight into Amy Lee Costigan.
I'm about to get there.
Oh.
So it then went into this issue of Sam Monaghan and Eldrick McMahon, who we love dearly, excellent players. They were kind of chosen because they were the most experienced by far, because all of their backs flit in between 7s and 15s, and the rest of the team is children. So they were chosen as co-captains. However, since that decision, it's been incredibly rare that they are both fit. And so during the Six Nations, neither were fit. And therefore, Amy Lee Costigan, who is actually a sevens player and only has I think before Six Nations had something like 8 15s caps,
If you are coming, well, if you are coming to us from either being a fan of the Olympics, being a fan of the Summits program, this is Amy Lee Murphy-Crowe, who has gotten married, is now Amy Lee Costigan. Some people have asked me, why does she spell her name the same way? And also, where did Amy Lee Murphy-Crowe go? Nowhere. She's Amy Lee Costigan.
Yeah. So she ended up captaining in the Six Nations. I think they'll probably go back to, I don't think they've announced that Amy Lee Costigan, I always called her Murphy-Crowe then,
I know,
is the captain. I don't think they have. I think it'll still be Sam and
I can't remember. They announced their team quite a while ago. They weren't like Wales that did it quite late.
Adele.
Yeah, because
I've actually been thinking exactly
Neve
this. I think that
Jones
actually
Neve Jones ended up captaining one of the warm-ups.
She did, yeah. I think she did the Scotland. Was it the Scotland game?
Yes.
Yeah. And I want to say that Sam captained the other one. But regardless, it's just they've got a huge leadership issue because they just don't have, like, Neve Jones, again, she came in because Clee Maloney was blacklisted. You know, a lot of these players have had a kind of trial by fire, baptism by fire. So they need to build up some experience.
I don't know if Ireland have had like second album syndrome. Like they had like this breakthrough year, and I think they've struggled a little bit this year. I mean, it's always hard when you've had a good year and you beat someone like the Black Ferns, and then they get all the injuries. But I think I got the general impression from the Irish media that they were disappointed with their Six Nations.
Yeah, because they lost to Scotland, but
I thought they were pretty good against Wales. Like, in fact, they were very good against Wales.
I think they were expecting to beat France.
I think they were as well.
And they didn't really plan for the Scotland game because they just assumed that they would win, and they didn't. But
that again is, to me, is a bit of a leadership, partly leadership-y thing, I think.
I think that's it. I think they've just got, they need to mature, I think, as a squad.
I think it's difficult for them. I think I genuinely
they've got the talent. I think
they do have loads of talent and potential. They got loads of injuries, obviously, but
you need you need exposure is my thing. And we've actually we've bandied this about when we've talked about Wales. Ultimately, Wales did end up picking people with a lot of exposure. It's totally fine. However, when there was a leadership crisis, some of the questions were about people who like really didn't have that much international experience. I think it would be an error not to. I was looking it up because I was curious. The last thing that I can find. So interestingly enough, IRFU does not seem to have named captains for the cup yet. But I was expecting that they had. I went back. The last warm-up that they played was against Canada. We were thinking of Canada. Canada, the captains were Neve Jones and Brittany Hogan.
Yeah.
So
weird.
Now what I wonder. I agree.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's because Sam Monaghan is an injury doubt.
Isn't back. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
So the reason that I bring that up is because I do wonder. I think Adele and Sam are going to be there. Are they good? I don't know.
Which leads me to my next point. I think the problem is Sam Monaghan is needed so much, not only for the leadership issue, but because
the second row.
The second row is a mess. Like
you can. Todd loves Ruth Campbell. However, she's 19. Like
she is so
has not seen this shit before.
No, like she's so young. In my opinion, I think she's a better second row than Dorothy Wall. Dorothy Wall is not an out-and-out second row.
Dorothy Wall also doesn't want to be in the second row. Dorothy Wall wants to be on the flank. She just can't.
Yeah, but it's just injury issue after injury issue after injury issue. Yeah. I think
she plays where she's needed.
Yeah,
which is very Dorothy Wall.
But I think Ruth Campbell is like the next cycle star.
Super promising. Yeah, I was like super promising. I think is going to become a very big name in 2029.
Yeah. And this is kind of where the issue of having Nicola Friday retire early culling the likes of Aoife McDermott too early has just caused issues.
And so I bring this up only because I feel that this is the inverse of what New Zealand has in terms of the balance of having a smart roster versus projecting confidence. This isn't smart to me. It's worrisome. It makes me worry for the players.
Yeah, and I think when you look at it, you're like, oh, well, the Irish squad, they primarily play in Ireland. They don't have a great level of competition. Well, neither, New Zealand don't necessarily play a lot of club.
Right.
The difference is in like their style of play. So with New Zealand, a lot of it is instinctual, then, it's a cultural thing. Whereas with the Irish squad, a lot of them took up rugby a lot later. They're not getting high quality game time at any level until they're facing off against England, France, whatever. And
that's right.
Their style of play is to be...
AIL is not serving them the way that it should. That's right.
And their style of play is to be very structured. And when you've got players who are not experienced, and then when you've got a lot of players, you're losing them to injury, it's going to cause issues. And they just don't have the depth yet, unfortunately.
Do you two both think that Ireland will still finish second in the group? Because I still do. I think they've still got enough quality there.
I think they've got the easiest path to the quarters.
I was going to say, I think that eases us really well into the Japan conversation, because I feel that the only one in the way is Japan.
Yeah.
And I think that we have.
Yeah.
Japan struggled in WXV2, losing to a poor Wales side, but they copped a surprise win over the USA back in April, and then went on to dominate the Asia Rugby Women's Championship. They did lose to Italy in their warm-up, but their main concern will be Spain. What is the likelihood of a miracle in York/Northampton over New Zealand or Ireland? So basically, if you don't know what I'm referencing here, in 2015, the Men's Rugby World Cup was held in England, and Japan pulled off what is known as the Miracle of Brighton. I'm pretty sure there's like a book and a film and everything about it, where they beat the Springboks.
It was amazing, to be fair.
It was vibes. It was
I love
Japan. It made Eddie Jones' career.
Oh God. Sorry.
Less happy about that bit.
Sorry for giving him a career.
But yeah, I think New Zealand is out of the question. I was just being funny there.
That's out of the question.
But miracle in Northampton? Question mark?
I do not.
No,
I do not
for
think that it is. I do not think that it is impossible for Japan to beat Ireland. I do not think so.
I agree.
In 2022, Ireland toured Japan, and it was they split the series.
It was a fantastic tour.
Yeah. However, that was when Ireland were in the dark days. So
right.
I think Japan are really improving as a side. So they just in the last couple of years, because I always go back to this. I saw them play Wales at California Park a couple of years ago, and they were pretty poor, to be honest.
Yeah.
And in that space of time, I watched the USA game, and they kind of blew me away in that game in Japan. With Japan beating USA.
Everybody.
They were really, really good.
Everybody agreed, and here's my thing that I bang on and on about with Japan, because I am an early adopter Japan fan. I really want good things for Japan. Here's why. JRFU moves in a way that I feel is like a complete opposite to honestly, just because it's the one that I know the best other than USA, to WRU. JRFU invests and hires in an optimistic way, that they believe that the only direction is up, and it has always been true so far. Japan is really good at analysis, and not to fall into any tropes, they are very good at studying. When they play a team, they always come prepared. They know their strengths, which is, it sounds asinine to say, but truly some teams don't, or at least don't concoct plays that align to their strengths versus perhaps how the coach likes to play, or versus how one of their stars plays. And several teams that we've covered already have fallen into this trap of playing to the strengths of one or two players. What Japan has in its favor is a union that stands behind them, which really, I know it sounds paltry, but it really can't be overstated, especially in the women's game. And Japan has hired in a way that has been inspiring. They've got an ex-Canada coach as their head coach now, and they've got Simon Middleton on the rolls.
No.
Yeah. Oh, is he not there anymore?
No. So this is what I was going to lead into. Simon Middleton was only with them for part of 2024.
For the tour.
Okay. Oh, I didn't realise.
And for WXV2. Now, if you look at WXV2, Japan were not great.
That's true.
And that's when he was consulting with them. He then left and they got a lot better.
I always love to say that when the English leave, things get better.
Because he's going to be on the BBC comms team.
That's fine. Of course he is. It would have been him or Smithy. Fine. That's all fine. I will go back to Japan and where their strengths lie. Japan does have something that most women's teams, not all, but most women's teams don't have in spade, which is speed. And speed across the board, even...
They are rapid.
I will say, their wingers are not that fast.
Don't need to.
But it's because the rest of the team is so quick.
They just
you
don't
need to when you have a fast prop. And we highlight props like Sarah Byrne or Hope Rogers, but for Japan, they just make them that way.
Yeah.
Which is something to be said. Now let's be fully honest about where Japan is at. Japan is developing. Yes, they run roughshod over Rugby Asia all the time. They have said themselves, and I'm just parroting them, there's not a lot in Rugby Asia to really test yourself against. It's mostly Kazakhstan. Yep, that sucks. Sorry.
It's gonna
we're hoping things get better. However, they, unlike a lot of other clubs that maybe don't have as much exposure, and I contrast them directly with Brazil. Brazil does not have the money like Japan does. But in terms of finding new things to teach us against, Japan will always do it. And I think that we're going to see those results.
When I think of women's rugby and I am looking for a comparison for Japan, my big comparison in my head is South Africa in terms of they are absolutely dominating their continental region. Really,
they have grown out of their region.
Yeah, South Africa this year sent basically an A team to the competition and still dominated.
And still they nulled some teams.
Yeah. The difference with Japan and South Africa is obviously South Africa rugby is basically a religion and it's just a way of life. Japan don't have that. However,
as much, but it is certainly growing.
It's certainly growing.
But they have the potential to have it, don't they, in Japan?
They absolutely do.
I don't think anything will compare to rugby in South Africa, though.
No.
Apart from maybe rugby in New Zealand.
That's the thing. Honestly, that speaks more to, and we'll talk about it another time. We'll talk about it in our next episode. We'll talk about it in our next episode about the development within South Africa, but there's a lot to say about it. A lot of it not necessarily super positive about SARU, for example. South Africa not being as developed as they could be is really a knock on them. Not necessarily. I think Japan and South Africa are a really good comparison, but it's because one is not performing nearly to what they could, and one is way outperforming what you thought they would. And there's a lot to work with but there's a lot of room to work with both of those. Japan is fortunate that their union is willing to say, yep, I see it. I see the potential. I'm going to throw money at it. If South Africa were to do the same, I think our Pool D conversation is going to be very different from how it's going to be.
But I think for Japan, I love them dearly. I really want them to do well, but I can't really see there being too much of a change, even with the amount of money you throw at it, unless they have, yes, they get competition in WXV, But
you're absolutely right.
Until there's another competition, you know, they're kind of replacing Rugby Asia or something else. I don't see a lot of.
It's a big problem as a whole, isn't it? With rugby, we're never going to get these sort of tier 2. Exactly. I don't know where people really fit in, but we're never going to develop these teams.
Exactly.
Like England is so far ahead of everyone else, and then you've got, you know, I don't know, like we need these teams to be able to play better sides more regularly. So I think they do need to look at what we can do with the calendar and try and, you know, have other competitions. Women's rugby is trying to copy men's rugby too much, and we need just to think outside the box. We've got WXB and all that kind of stuff, but that's still quite limited, isn't it, with who teams are playing against?
Yeah,
I do think
there's a lot to be said about development off of sevens. It's not great, whatever. That's not how we would pick it. Okay. Unfortunately, that's how it is. And when you look especially at Asia, dominating sevens is dominating the rugby world. There's a lot to be said about the differences between 15 and sevens and why it suits Asia better. But also it is just a truism, and this is on every continent. It is just true that it's easier to put together a sevens program. It's true.
Yeah.
So with that, we move on to our final team of the pod and our close personal friends.
Close personal friends, all of España.
Yeah.
Vamos.
Sorry about just making them bounce.
So Spain are currently ranked number 13 in the world. They are our very good friends, as we said. Laura Delgado, if you are listening, love you, Queen.
You're our best friend. Love you, Queen. I
love Spain.
Te amo so
much. They come into the pool as the lowest ranked team and recently faced a battering from England. Unfortunate.
And their first match of the World Cup is New Zealand.
Hope you enjoy it.
Good luck.
You love rugby.
12 tries by Portia, maybe.
The players have received.
Sorry. We love Spain.
The players have received 6-month grants so that they can train like professionals prior to their first World Cup since 2017. They also have a crop of great young talent with Amelia Argudo, Claudia Pena, etc. I said both of those names completely wrong. I do apologize.
Absolutely did. I love you so much.
Yeah, I cannot pronounce
Claudia
things.
Pena and Amalia Argudo.
I'm not even going to attempt.
This is off topic, but I am.
Your close personal friend Amalia Argudo.
Yeah. Yeah. Jesse's in the background. So I wrote an article earlier about Barrette, which is obviously French.
Yes.
And then I had to
record. Put a link to.
I had to record the podcast that goes along with it, and I realised I can't say anything correctly.
You speak French.
I don't speak French. And
love it.
I went into it.
You're like, parlez-vous? And they're like, yep.
Well, you're like, good morning.
Good morning.
And the thing was, it was like
nice contemporary reference for you there.
It was like in English, and then all of a sudden I'd get to like a name of something, and I'd be like,
you're like Francoise.
Shit. Oh fuck. And then I was like, and when I was typing it, I was like, I'm gonna make my life easier, and I'm going to put this thing as an acronym. But then I had to say the acronym over and over and over again in the recording, and it was
because you can't read it.
And it was like FFSF. Do you know how hard that is to say?
Yeah.
No.
We in the BBC we have like a pronunciation software thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You can put in anything like that, and then it'll tell you probably incorrectly how to pronounce it if it's
exactly. Welsh, it's God. I was going to say it's God's worst AI.
So I just can't pronounce anything.
I'm not very good at stuff like that either.
That's why we've got Julia.
I was just going to say, I am actually. Can I have one skill?
Yeah.
Yeah. You are.
But moving on, Spain have got the crop of great talent, and they've also got experienced leadership with friend of the pod, Laura Delgado.
I was just going to say one of the inarguable best captains in the World Cup.
Yeah.
I feel like
be enough to overcome Japan.
No.
There's only 2 points between them, but I think that's two very big points.
I love Spain, and I think they're a really lovely side to watch. And they got some really good footballers, and they
really great footballers. There's kicking really, we complain a lot about kicking in women's rugby, but there's always an asterisk, and it's except Spain.
Yeah.
Oh, they are so good. But I just feel like 6 months.
And kicking doesn't beat speed. Unfortunately, in rugby, kicking doesn't beat speed. And if we're just breaking it down to what each team has, unless Spain had an incredible defense system, and they don't, that would be how I would see them combating Japan.
I just feel like the preparation, like the 6-month thing against Japan, where they've had this sort of like proper coherent plan from the Japan Union, where they're just
right.
They've obviously got a much wider picture on this. Whereas like
they've also
Spain, it's like a 6-month. It just feels a bit
I was just going to say that. Well, they also have their own problems within their own union.
Yes,
I mean, Spain in general is really not on a great track record for women's sports right now, but women's rugby is no different. Unfortunately, their union has waffled. They have promised a few years ago, they had promised that they're going to look at actually professionalizing their club system, because so many people come from Italy to play, come from France to play. If you're perhaps not Elite One material, you could go to Spain. A lot of Spanish players go and play in Elite One.
Not only that, Maggie Lee Harvey went and played in Spain for a while.
Yes, a lot of so Spain.
Maggie Lee Harvey.
I feel like they don't necessarily.
Bless
I feel like they don't necessarily understand what they have, because Spain is a desirable place to go play for women's sports, especially for ball sports. It's a place that you want to go. It's a place that is, if you have an EU passport, it's a place that's easier to go. We've talked a bit about how easy it is or isn't to play in certain places. For Americans, it's very hard to go play in the UK, but that's where you want to go play. Spain is a place that could be a landing spot for huge talent. You brought up Magali Harvey. It's a great reason why, and it's because she holds an EU passport in France.
It's a really good point.
You could bring a lot of French and Italian talent to your club program, which would bolster it, which would bring in sponsors. This is how you grow the club
system. You could bring over the Irish players.
Absolutely. I mean, we joke, but it is true. There are several groups of players. I mean, you could also do Welsh and Scottish, honestly. We are seeing a lot of movement, for example, from Scotland to France. A lot of Scottish players are eschewing the PWR because the PWR has put on EQP, which for people who are new, it's English qualified player. There are now caps all across the PWR for how many English qualified players you must be playing in every match, that must make up your roster. And it has made the league less desirable for people who aren't EQP. And people leagues like Elite One are reaping the benefit. Leagues like Super W are reaping the benefit. They are getting Europeans to go over. If you made a desirable club system to play in, Spain is an easy sell. It's an easy sell.
And the thing is, with a lot of the Spanish clubs as well, it's like, it's not that it's just a rugby club. It's a whole sports club. So it's Barcelona.
Often it's got sport, it's got soccer, it's got hockey. Yeah.
It's got basketball. So it's got the money. It's
there.
It's got the infrastructure. It's got the gym. It's got whatever. It just needs to have some input from Spanish rugby.
And you can't blame the people who run those multi-sport sporting clubs. You can't really put the blame on them for why isn't it more desirable to come play for the rugby. What really needs to be happening is to make the rugby more desirable to come play, and that rests on the Spanish Rugby Union. Excuse me.
Yeah, you need them to have the vision, isn't it?
Well, you have to make. You can't just rest on the country being Spain.
Yeah.
Yes, Spain is very desirable to go to, but if you go there and playing there sucks, and for example, Anna Capeless has gone and played there as well. Like, if you don't make it a place where you can stay and make a career for your rugby, they're going to go to France. We look at a lot of the star players on Spain right now. Amalia Argudo plays in France. Laura Delgado plays in the PWR. Claudia Pena plays in the PWR. Carmen Castellucci plays in the PWR.
Bimba.
Laura Delgado. Clearly, nobody wants to be in England over Spain. So you have to make Spain more desirable to play rugby there. And if you did, I think it would be a very nice steep slope in a good way, sliding straight down into like you could pull people from all sorts of places, which would in turn bolster your domestic development.
And as well, I think they've already done it. I think they've got a couple of players that have come
Unfortunately,
from
no
Latin
one.
America as well. Am I wrong?
Tons of the
Yeah.
Brazilians play there.
So,
Tons of the Brazilians play in the Spanish league. Yes,
like,
they play in Portugal or they live in Portugal and then they go play in Spain.
yeah, like,
Absolutely. When we get to Brazil, oh, I should actually do that for the next episode. But yes, several Brazilian players have been. I mean, we've also seen Portuguese national players. Why we
Yeah,
aren't going to be talking about them?
I think
because they're
there
not the
is a
top-
player on the Spanish
they are on the
team though
press.
that is originally from Latin America.
It might be Cristina Blanco.
Oh.
It might be, yeah, that might be who I'm thinking of. But what I mean is, like, they have such a system that they can use if they just put their mind to it. But they haven't.
And here's my thing, and here's my message to Spain. There's all sorts of comments to be made, and rugby is a sport that has globally benefited from colonialism, unfortunately. However,
I've written about it if you're interested.
You have, and we're absolutely going to link that. Okay. Spain, I'm going to tell you something that I would hope you already know. There is a whole continent, almost, of Spanish speakers who do not have domestic competitions that pay them. I would not like it if Argentina and Colombian, for example, domestic rugby collapsed because you pulled a bunch of them over, but you don't give a shit about that. You care about bolstering your own squad, or your own domestic rugby, rather, not squad. It's not hard to pull them. We were just talking about how, like, Portugal is pulling Brazilian players, and Portugal did not make the World Cup. There is not a difficult sell to be made to bring people to come play in your domestic league. And it's true that it would require some initial investment. It always does anywhere. You would need to do that when we talk about South Africa and their domestic development. Yep. Yeah, it took some money. Sorry. Like it did. You have to be willing to not listen to the pink middle-aged men who yell at you about taking funds from other. Shut up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This is how you develop. It's going to be putting in money up front and understanding that you may not get it back. However, if you put in money and make a desirable product and you get players who are exciting from those Latin American countries, if you get exciting players from Portugal, if you get exciting players from Italy, if they can't get their shit together, you will make a league that sponsors want to be a part of. It won't happen overnight, which is, we've talked about it on other episodes, which is the big hurdle. However, the path is not as difficult for you as it is for a lot of other places. And this is a lot of the frustration when people talk about Spain and why they aren't higher rated. They talk about this a lot with the men's rugby, especially because Spain men's rugby is also constantly on that precipice. There's a lot of argument about whether they should or should not be in the Six Nations. Whatever the implications of that aside, if they are reaching this level, that's a signal for something. Honestly, I understand that now. I'm just saying the same things over and over, but the road for you is not as difficult as you are making it, and you don't have to.
Yeah, their goal should not just be win Rugby Europe every year. It shouldn't
be just eking it out.
No. Which leads me on to our final topic of the day. Well, of this episode, because we're recording straight after this. What will the goals be for a bottom-ranked team like Spain?
It's a very good question. Very good question.
I mean, it's got to be improved performance, right? It's got to be feeling like you performed at this RWC better than you did last one.
If Spain go and lose each game by huge scores, I don't think
that's a bad thing.
Is at all, good, basically.
I would also say for individual players, and this goes for Spain, this goes for countries like South Africa, it goes for even teams like Italy, who have a really strong chance of making the quarters and are quite a big rugby nation.
Yeah.
Is you're in England playing at the highest profile event you can.
This is where to do it.
This is where to do it. If you're an individual player and you're a star player on that team and you're not getting anything back home for playing rugby, if you can show out, you might be able to get a contract and play for a PWR team.
For sure.
It literally worked for Claudia Pena.
Yeah.
It literally worked just by being an REC all-star.
It's a giant shot window.
Yeah. So I think for the individual star players I think it's a chance, especially with now there are quite a few Spanish players playing in France or England. I think it could be a shout. There's connections there. If any more Spanish players want to join Quins, I'd be very happy. If Argudo wants to join Quins, I'd also be very happy.
No.
Yeah.
All right, it's fine. Quins would be all right.
Quins have all the best players.
She's so good. Sorry.
She is, yeah.
Best friend of the pod.
She is.
That brings us to the end of Pool C. We've got a bunch of questions from you guys, which we're really excited to answer. We'll probably end up taking those to our next episode. Yep, we'll nail those at the end. We know we've gone a little bit long. Thank you so much for taking another vacation to Yap City. We're so happy you're here. Again, we are the Women's Rugby Treehouse. We are going to be coming back for Pool D very soon. Until then, as always, if you watch this one and you have any questions or you'd like any sort of feedback or you'd like us to discuss anything on air, please drop it in the comments here on YouTube. Drop it to us on the socials, which we will have linked. I don't know if you can comment on Spotify. Oh,
you can.
Old.
You can.
There we go. You can comment on Spotify now. Don't be mean.
We might check it.
We might check it if we figure out how to do it. Between the three of us, one of us surely knows how to do it. But otherwise, again, thank you so much for coming with us on this journey. We're going to be back for Pool D. Just a reminder for you to get excited. Pool D is going to be France, Italy, South Africa, and Brazil. And we have a lot to chat about, so please join us then. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for listening to the Women's Rugby Treehouse. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us wherever you see us on social. Join us again for more of the same next week, and until then, enjoy your rugby.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.